We are back on the Lynne Hayes Freeland show. We are talking about something that often I get to talk about things that I'm glad I don't have to decide. Dr. Hamlet, Pittsburgh Public Schools, this is all you guys, all you. But what it's going to take to open Pittsburgh Public Schools on whatever level. Before the break, we were talking about bus service. You mentioned that you have buses that would, well, not you, but the buses that you contract with normally would have 72 kids, but to do the social distancing, that would be 26 kids. In my mind, and that's not my strong suit, I'll be honest, 26 kids, it sounds to me like you'd have to then stagger start times and have buses almost running all day long.
Right. So right now we're running transportation. So, but also we gave parents the option to go online if they want to. So now we're filtering that information to find out exactly how many want to go online. And then our transportation is being worked out as a result and make sure that we can meet the demands of transportation and getting our kids to school based on the CDC guidelines.
And so parents have had a chance. They've heard the pitch. They've heard the options. What kind of responses have you gotten?
Overall, we've got some good responses. Right now, we need to put more detail to the plan because parents want to know specifics, and so that's what we'll do. And really explain to them what is it going to look like in this hybrid model and what kind of education experience your child will receive, for both online and the hybrid model, and also online as well. What kind of educational programming can your child expect in this new model? And so that's what we need to put more specific details to moving forward in the next few days.
So, because I guess it seems to me that for parents, it's almost a double-edged sword, because I guess a lot of parents feel like their work future is directly tied to what happens to their child's school future.
Right. And I think right now, and I talked about this before, kind of say playing politics with the safety and the well-being of our students, faculty, and staff. Right now, that's the rhetoric coming out of Washington, and also with our Secretary of Education, they're pushing and really advocating for all schools to start back with students in the fall. But we need to make sure that we err on the side of caution for the safety of our students and families and community as well. That's our decision-making process here in Pittsburgh Public Schools, and we want to make sure that we make that, and that's the focus, and it's paramount. So understanding that some families do need kids to come to school, that's why there's an option for them to come in a hybrid. But also some families might not come back and they'll stay in the online version.
And at the end of the day, when you look at, and I'm guessing there are other things that are going to be involved in this, you've got to have hand sanitizers.
Yes.
Plexiglass shields. Is that part of the plan or no?
Sanitizer, shields, face shields, depending on where you are. So we have protocols in place of what we expect to have in our schools and the safety protocols that we need to put in place. Yeah.
So who's paying for all that?
A lot of this is we're using CARES funding. That's the federal stimulus money, the CARES. I think we received, if I'm not mistaken, about 11.1 million. We have to share a small percentage with our non-pubs as well, based on their Title I status of their students in their school. But by and large, it's roughly about 10.5 million that we'll be able to use, we think.
And so at the end of the day, this is a whole new approach to education. I mean, this is all new territory for everyone.
Right.
Are the expectations on you, on the teachers, on the staff realistic, do you think? Because this is all new for you guys too.
So I would say this. People need to understand that this is very different. It's going to look different. It's going to feel different. And again, this is our first attempt into this foray into this new world that we call online, hybrid learning, et cetera. And so bear with us as we make sure that we begin to put training in place for our teachers and our faculty and staff, but also making sure that we provide the most robust learning that we can, or learning environment for our students that we can.
Temperature checks? Is that part of the day?
That's a consideration. We're going to look at the guidelines that are coming from the CDC, because there's some research that says you shouldn't do temperature checks at school. You should do that at home. Families should do that at home. Also, faculty and staff should do that at home before coming to school. So that's the hope, but we're still having a conversation around that, if we're going to do temperature checks at our schools or not.
Now, let's be real, Dr. Hamlet. You know, Mom and Dad, if Junior's sick, if Junior has a temperature, Mom or Dad's gonna have to stay home.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad have already missed 2-3 months of work. Mom and Dad may not be able to stay home.
Yeah.
So it's like, 101.3, 101.4. Nah, he can go to school.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of trust that has to be involved.
Absolutely. You got to trust that people are going to follow the guidelines and do what's best for the good of everybody. And so if individuals don't follow that, you begin to put others at risk. And so we don't want that to happen. We want to mitigate the spread of COVID. And so we have to follow the guidelines and protocols that are given to us and put in place.
And then I'm wondering, because the other concern that I've heard, a lot of our teachers fall into that category. I'm not going to say they're high risk, but a lot of our teachers are older. And I hear there are some concerns there.
And so that's a whole nother issue, right? So we look at the federal guidelines that have been passed, the federal laws that have been passed around leaves for COVID, and individuals who are older age, who are at risk, who are taking care of elderly siblings, et cetera. So all that comes into play. And so we're beginning to feel that and work with the PFT to find out what individuals or what teachers meet the criteria for that. And so that's something that's on our plate as well, because we need to know even if we're going to have enough teachers in the building to come back, right? So that's going to dictate if we're going online or hybrid as well. And so all these factors.
Because then that's another dynamic, because I don't want to say there's a teacher shortage, but we've heard that it can be tough getting teachers.
Oh, absolutely, especially during this time right now. It'd be very difficult. So those are some things that we're working out right now, the details of that, along with the Pittsburgh Federation of Teachers, working with them to make sure that we find out what those who those faculty and staff are who may be susceptible for not coming back, that need to work at home from a remote environment.
We're going to take another break. When we come back, I want to talk. We talked about all of these programs and ideals that you had last year during the school year. I'm guessing a lot of those are going to end up on the back burner because these things have kind of taken priority. We'll talk about that when we come back. The Lynne Hayes Freeland Show. We'll be right back. Don't go away.